your heart coach, and I wanted to jump on my heart this afternoon. So, those of you, some of you know, some of you don't know, but I am Adelai Brown, the heart coach. I am a heart work practitioner. I work with individuals to grow heart equity, which is where we cultivate personal, relational, and financial wealth through authentic living. We focus on confronting negative past experiences, hurt, pain, struggles that we've had, and being able to use those experiences to fuel our lives in a very authentic and real way. And so I've been a heart coach now for over 10 years, but it is a way of living, the way that I live my life. We're really on a journey of self exploration and purposeful living. And I believe that the only way to truly live in your purpose is to get to know who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. And today, I just had a conversation with one of my sisters, and I was just reminded of a time with my mom. My mom and I grew up really close. My mom was a single mother. My dad wasn't in my life growing up much, and so my mom and the village around us, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, teachers, neighbors, all the things, friends, came together and helped my mom raise me. But because of that, we survived together. And I know a lot of people can relate to this, but what we don't realize is when we survive together with people, a lot of times we find ourselves in very toxic, codependent, people pleasing relationships, meaning we feed off each other's trauma and toxicity. And it's hard for one person or both people to grow, because in order for us to grow and get better, we have to adapt a new lifestyle. No more survival, no more self-sabotage, so that you can help the group, right? You start to work on yourself. You start to focus on, dang, I need to do this better in order to be better in my family and my home, and what God is calling me to do. And so my mom and I, we had a toxic relationship. It was a lot of back and forth, but we always had each other back. I knew I could go to her, she could come to me, but it just was very transactional. You do this for me, I do this for you. If you don't do this for me, I'm not doing it for you. And it caused a lot of problems. It made me not trust people. I didn't really trust her. I felt like she was more opportunist in my life. And I wanted us to be close. I wanted to be able to trust her with my heart, not just with my children. I wanted to be able to trust her with my feelings, with my emotions. And we just couldn't see eye to eye, but I kept praying about it. She kept praying about it. And I remember not long after she came home from prison, I had just purchased my first house. And this was the first home we lived in, because I always rented apartments. I never rented a house. It was the first home that we lived in, my husband and I and our children. And so my mom came and asked to stay with me. She would always come and stay with me when her and her boyfriend would break up, or her ex-husband would break up. They'd go through stuff. She'd get in an argument with him. She'd want to come stay with me. They'd get better. She'd go back to her house. We always had these types of toxic interactions. And I don't know, I know I'm not the only one who went through these types of things with their parents, but many people don't like to talk about it for fear of, making people feel bad, for fear of putting your family business out there, for fear of telling the truth and how your truth can be weaponized, because a lot of times people have trouble acknowledging where they hurt us and let us down. They just want to be praised, but realizing that there are a lot of things that you don't want to praise them for, and they don't deserve it. So I'm going to talk about it because I feel like sharing my testimony can help you and those that you love, and realizing that you can love somebody, you can be there for them, but you do not have to stay in a toxic cycle and deal with people who are not treating you well. You don't have to do that. And so my mom came home from prison. She was living in a halfway house for a little while, and then when it was time for her to get out of the halfway house, she wanted to come live with me. Where I live in Charleston is like an ideal location. I'm in right outside of the city. It takes about 10 minutes to get there. It takes about no more 10 to 20 minutes I can get in any part of Charleston pretty much, beaches included. So my mom wanted to stay with me because staying with me would make her life easier. It would make her life easier, but it wasn't going to make my life easier. And I have been doing a lot of work on myself up until this point. And I decided, like I prayed about it, and I knew that even though my mom and I were working on our relationship, I knew that I could not allow her to come and move in with me. When I thought about her moving in, I thought about how she was going to move in and how she liked to bully me and try to boss me to do things she want me to do. And she was going to do the same thing to my husband and to my children. And when I got married, my husband didn't sign up for two wives. He signed up for one. He signed up for me, not my mom. Um, and I think a lot of marriages struggle because adult children have, like, they struggle with how can I respect and honor my parents while also respecting and honoring my marriage, because a lot of men have mothers and fathers that are out of line, and you don't know how to address it, especially when it's your mama, because it's your mama. But your wife is your wife and your mama is your mama, right? So for me as a wife, like my mom and I had survived together. Give her my food stamp card. She used up all my food stamps, and I let her do it again because we surviving together. And when my husband and I got married, we moved into this house. I knew that I couldn't let her live here. So she asked me if she could move in, and I told her no. And she was so shocked that I said no. She wanted me to explain myself. And up until that point, I was really bad with people pleasing. A sign that you're a people pleaser is you over explain. So, you can't just say no. You got to give them the 25 reasons why you had to say no and you so sorry and all the things. That's a sign that you're overcoming um, people pleasing. So when and I knew that when I told her no, she was gonna call family members and friends of the family and talk about how, oh, she got her new house now and I can't live with her. Oh, when it was in the apartment or whatever, it was fine. I let her hold my car and let her and her family use my car to help them get along, because at the time we were using my mom right before that season was up. um, right before this particular season, my mom was allowing, we had one car, and my mom was allowing us to use her car. And so I knew because she was doing that, that was another reason why she was expecting me to let her move in to my house. And I realized how much I had been conditioned for love to be transactional. So I felt like, oh, my mama gonna be so mad at me. She gonna talk about me and down talk me because I didn't let her move in. And I knew she was expecting me to do it because of the things that she was already doing for me and my family. And in that moment, God showed me the love of a father, the love of a mother, that is true love, is not conditional. So if I'm going to be a good mama, I'm going to be a good mama to my kids, whether they are doing what I want them to do or not. And so what happened was, I ended up telling her she couldn't live with us, and she ended up moving in with one of her friends, and it ended up being a really good time for her and her friend. She grew a lot. She went through a lot of mental, emotional, spiritual growth. Her health got better living with her friend. She embraced a new level of independence and interdependence. She was breaking a lot of her toxic ways that she had adapted as an addict for so many years, and just dealing with sickness, because my mom got diagnosed with lupus at 18 years old, but she dealt with the symptoms from lupus ever since she was a little girl. So she always felt like something was wrong with her and she didn't know what was wrong. So it was just like a lot of things. And I didn't want my daughter and I to go through the same relationship that my mom and I had gone through. And I knew for that to happen, I had to put boundaries in place, like not allowing my mom to move in. I wanted my marriage to work. I wanted to be in a better space with my children than I was with my mother. And I appreciate the mother that I have. I appreciate everything my mother did. And because I didn't allow her to move in and told her no, set those boundaries that she couldn't move into my house, her life ended up getting better. And fast forward, what, 12, 13 years later, 12 years later, before my mom died, that was my best friend, one of my closest friends. And And she and I talk about it all the time. We would have never got close had I not broken that toxic cycle of codependency and self-sabotage by letting her move in. Every good thing ain't a God thing. She was angry with me for a while for telling her no. But after she got over the anger, she was able to heal and acknowledge the part she played in my life, that she wasn't safe enough for me to allow her into my house. She wasn't going to be an asset to us, she was going to be a hindrance. And she was able to see that herself because she needed to heal and she needed to grow. There were things about her. She was expecting me to be a mother and care for her. I'm her daughter. The roles were misplaced, and putting those boundaries in place allowed for us to have a better relationship. So I'm telling you this because I don't know where you are in your life right now. Maybe you have a relationship coming to an end, or maybe you ending your job, or you're moving to a new town, or maybe there's a shift in something that's taking place with people that you're closest to. All I want to tell you is lean into it. God can handle the stress, the strife. God can handle your discomfort and your confusion. Who the sun set free is free indeed. Just be free. But just understand that boundaries come to allow for everybody to have more freedom. They do not block us, but they allow us to live a more authentic life where we can love people in an authentic way, where it's not that we're putting on or going along to get along, where we are truly who we are professing to be. So I just wanted to drop that story on you. My mother died in March of 2024, and when she died, I'm still grieving the loss of her, but I talk about our stories because we overcame. And it's a lot of mothers and daughters and sons and fathers and mothers and sons and fathers and daughters and that are not getting along or are silently, secretly resenting one another because they're afraid to tell the truth. And what I'm going to say is tell the truth and shame the devil. Confront those issues. Be willing to make a mistake so that you can be at peace. But whatever you do, no longer hold on and make yourself uncomfortable to make somebody else comfortable. That is never the right thing to do. But we overcome by the blood of the lamb and the words of my testimony. And this is my testimony to you. Let me get out this car because I'm hot. Because it was freezing cold last week and it's 80 something degrees right now, but that's a whole nother thing. Remember, we are growing heart equity. We are confronting matters of the heart, insecurities, doubt, worry, past experiences and trauma that we have never been able to truly get past and overcome. I call that um, heart issues. We are overcoming matters of the heart and doing heart work to grow heart equity, personal, relational, financial wealth through authentic living. I'm here for the long haul. We're going to have these conversations because not enough of these conversations are being had. I am able to love people who are difficult to love because I'm able to tell myself the truth and in turn tell them the truth. I don't always get it right. I make mistakes, but I'm also willing to confront those mistakes and be a better individual and be a more whole individual every day. And I am going to continue to support y'all in doing the same. So Heart Tribe, we're going to keep growing together because remember, when you heal your heart, you transform your life and the lives of everybody you're connected to. Think about it. Love y'all. Have a great